Most runners are looking for the key to unlocking hip extension because their stride feels short and stuck. They believe it's a lack of flexibility or strength that's keeping them in these patterns, but it's not. If that's you, you've come to the right place. Here, we discuss how the other 23 hours of your day are affecting your running stride and what you can do to change it. The best part is, it doesn't require more effort. It requires less. Today, I want to go over what I call the formula, which is the list of things that I have been doing consistently that have helped me make my stride better. This is the main premise of this channel, so I want to lay it out plainly from the beginning so that people understand what I'm about and they can decide whether or not this is something they want to tune into regularly. So the formula that I came up with has 8 different things listed. I'm going to try to briefly give a little description of each to make it plain and clear these things that I've been putting into practice. The first one is sit-ups, core strength. One of the things that I realized along the way when I was trying to activate my glutes was that my core strength was actually keeping me from being able to access my glutes. So I was going back to old patterns where my quads were tight and my low back was tight, and to counteract that, I've incorporated sit-ups into my routine. There's a lot of things you can do for core strength. Sit-ups are very specific and very simple as far as what they're targeting. And for me, I've found that to be very effective in trying to rebalance my system. Number 2, breath trainer. The one that I use is called the O2 trainer, and it's a product that you can get online. The basic premise of it is that it has a hole that you're breathing through, so you're working on your inhale, and you can adjust the size of that hole. And so they suggest you start around 5 or 6 millimeters if you're athletic, and then you kind of work your way down. I think the lowest it goes is like 1 millimeter. I got that back in July of last year, and that's actually when my stride was the best that it's been so far. So the helpful thing about me making this list, the formula, is that I've come back to it again and again, reminding myself these are the things that worked. The third thing is the running belt that I've designed. I've shown it in other videos, but I'll show it real quick. This is the belt part. It's got loops that attach to bungees. These are just some Home Depot bungees that I've been using because I go through them so quickly. This is the most affordable option right now. And then it has ankle straps that strap around the bottom of they go around the bottom of your foot, and then they pull up and they secure around your heel. That has been a part of this formula of mine that I believe is very effective in retraining the float in your stride. And so it gives you just that little bit of feedback to bring that foot up and behind you rather than keeping it more in like the forward plane. Number 4 is rope flow, something I discovered along the way last year. I found it to be very effective in teaching me how to load each leg. So when I'm coming over to the left, I'm loading the left, loading the right, loading the left, loading the right. That's something I'll be able to go over in more detail as this channel progresses, but that's one of the parts of my formula, number 4. Number 5 is what I call glute activation. There are a few modalities of movement that I've been following over the course of, I would say, for the last 4 or 5 years. And I've taken a little bit from each, and I've really landed on a specific set of movements that I do. I try to do them both morning and night. I find that to be most effective if I'm hitting these different practices before my run, and then before I go to bed at night. But that's number 5, glute activation. Number 6 is trauma release. That's another thing that I've discovered along the way that I've found to be very effective. What I'm referring to is what's called TRE, trauma release exercises. I forget the name of the guy who came up with it, and I'll have to give you that information on another video, but it's called TRE, trauma release exercises. And it's basically shaking and trembling, if you've seen anything like that. It's allowing your body to kind of move as it wants to move when you get into these positions, and it helps release the stored tension that we have in muscles that maybe you've never been able to release. It's more effective than stretching. I think combining it with stretching is probably the best way to really get your muscles to release. But I've found that to be super effective. I had that as number 6. Number 7 is what I'm calling incline training. Basically, I've taken my days that I had hill training scheduled, and I do it on the treadmill. So the first reason I started doing that is because the old pattern of movement that I had, quad dominant, if you will, I was very good at downhills, almost too good. It was, I'd really struggle on the uphill, and then I'd hit a downhill and I'm going twice as fast as my buddies if I'm running in a group or whatever. And what I was finding was that the downhills were kind of putting me back in that old pattern. So if I had a hill workout, I would get good form going up the hill, and then I'm kind of reversing it every time I have to go back down. So doing it on the treadmill allows me to not have to do the downhills, so I'm able to focus on just the incline. And what's cool about that is I've been able to scale it. So I'll talk about that on another video, but I've been able to scale it to where I'm getting bigger hills than I would even be able to get anywhere around here in Florida. So that's another reason that's been super effective. And last but not least, number 8 I have is strides. If you've been running for a decent amount of time, you're going to know what strides are. Basically, the idea is that you're doing maybe a 90% effort. They're not all out sprints, but it's basically your fast pace, probably your mile pace. Again, if you've been running for a while, then you kind of know what your 5K pace is, your 10K pace. I would say it's like your mile pace that you're probably hitting on these strides, but the idea behind them is to move fast with low effort. And so what I've done with my strides is I've, just like the incline training, how I've been able to scale it, I've scaled the strides where I've done more and more as the weeks go on. And I'm doing huge stride sessions that are about an hour long with twice rest. So normally it's like 20 seconds on, 40 seconds off. And I've found those to be super effective as well. So that's the formula. That's what I have so far. That's what's worked. A lot of times, if I'm honest, I'm only doing part of that. So I'm maybe hitting 5 or 6 out of those 8 things. When I've done all 8 of them is when I've seen the most results. And as I continue this channel, I think I'm going to be more and more inspired to be putting everything I believe in into practice so that I can have the results to speak for and just stay motivated to teach this to other people and hopefully help some other people be able to do the same thing that I've been able to do. So thanks for tuning into today's video. We'll see you next time.